Alright, I'm doing a how-to video right here on how to install an ASR subframe brace. Now, this works pretty much the same way on an EK, but for this one's going to be an install on a DelSol, which would work on the 94 through 01 Integra and the 92 through 95 Civics. So here I just got the black one. It comes in a bunch of different colors. I already installed this side. So what it is right here. This spacer is what they call it. Goes right behind. So you just line it up. Just gotta get that in there just right. It's a lot easier when you got two hands. And then you use these provided screws, which are Allen key ones. Put those in by hand. It's supposed to be 7 foot-pounds of torque to put down on these, but I'm just going to do by hand. Just make sure to be careful, make sure the Allen key is all the way in so you don't end up stripping them. If you do that, then you're going to be in pain. Okay, so what I like to do is put both in, just finger tighten, and as soon as you finger tighten, then you're going to crank it down. Just so they kind of, I guess, are more even. There we go. That should be about 7 foot-pounds of torque. Okay, the next part is the trickier part, and the reason why is, as you see, it doesn't really show you a whole lot on here. This is the instruction, one side. Pretty much tells you up here at the top what you got, what pieces were provided, and kind of what it goes in. But it doesn't actually show you how the different parts, especially these, actually go into them. Now these are called the backing plate. It took me a minute to figure out exactly where this goes, so that's what I'm going to show you right now. Alright, so if you have a buddy, it'd make this a whole lot easier just because they can hold up one side or hold the whole thing up while you do this part. But what it is up in here, which I'll back out so you kind of see where it's at, you'll end up feeling a nut way up here at the top. It's a nut that's welded in, so that's the one that you're going to end up putting this part over. So that will be the first step, is to get that put on. And so basically, as you can see, I'm gonna try to get this on. Just leave it hanging there if it'll stay. Okay, well that's how it goes. So from there, you're gonna put the plate on the front. Over here, I'm gonna need 2 hands for that, so let me see if I can do that. Alright, so while you're holding the back plate in, you're gonna have to get this part up. That's why I said it'd be a lot easier with a second person. I'm gonna try to do it. I'm actually using my foot to hold up the other side. I don't think you can see that, but then you gotta go and adjust it, find where this thing goes through. There we go. Once you got that through, you gotta just keep threading it. Now everything you leave loose, you know, just lightly tightened, just enough so it's grabbing everything, while you make sure everything is lined up. So basically that's how you put it in one side. Alright, so as soon as you got the first 2 on both sides in, you know, you tighten them down like I said, just enough so that you're still able to wiggle this thing around. It needs to be able to have a little bit of play to it, so that's all safe, that's all good. The next thing I'm gonna do is right here is where the, what is it, the chassis bolt that goes to the lower control arm goes through. I want to go ahead and put that through just so I can make sure everything is lined up properly. And that's a big thing, is you want to make sure it is lined up properly. So put that in. Just tighten that down once again. Make sure this is all good. Doing this all by hand. Tighten it down afterwards. Okay, so this one's pretty much going through. It's setting in there pretty good. And just finish it. Make sure we got it in there good. Because what this is going to do is it's going to make sure that this thing can't move around. As you see, now it's actually in there pretty tight. Then the smallest length bolt that came with the ASR kit, you're going to go ahead and put into here. We're going to go ahead and tighten that down. Okay, so you don't want to see all that. I'm going to go ahead and get past this. I'm going to do the other side the same exact thing, and then I will show you the next step. Alright, so as soon as you got everything tied in on both sides, just hand tied in, not torque tied in, then what you go through is with the torque wrench, you're going to go ahead and torque them down to 19 foot-pounds of torque. If you don't have a torque wrench, then I would just probably hand tie it into what you feel seems good. But I would suggest you try to get yourself a torque wrench just because you don't want to strip any bolts. Bam, that one's done. And there's still one more process after this I will show you. Okay, I think that got that one. Yep. Okay, so now that that's done, we're going to move over to here. You can see the stud of the bolt right there went all the way through. So we got to put a nut on that. And the nuts were provided. See if I can grab one. There you go. So now it's just all about working in these little confined areas. Trying to get them on. So if you have big hands, plan on this thing being a little bit harder to do. As you can see, I have medium-sized hands, and it's still pretty hard to do. Alright, so you can see it's on, and that is a 12 millimeter. So 12 millimeter. You're gonna go ahead and tighten that thing down. Alright, so everything's tight enough on there. Now you go ahead and kick back and you look at what it looks like. But that's the finished product right there. So there you go. That's how to install the ASR rear subframe brace on an EG, a DC2, and pretty much the same process for an EK. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you found it informative, make sure to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. Make sure to hit that notification button so you see everything else in the future that I put out there. Until next time, Assassinator out.